We are just waiting for a few more people, then we can start. I see some people say they are hearing nothing. Meeting is just about to start. Thank you. We request people also to mute as they join. Thank you.
Okay, I think it's now 10 past. So I think I can just start by introducing the Green Digital Innovation Hub, which is currently hosting this webinar. My name is Dr. Caroline Bayer from the African Center of Technology Studies, where I lead the Gender, Youth and Inclusive Development Program. The Green Digital Innovation Hub is one of the projects under this program. And what we do is that we support innovators to be able to access things that can support them to get into the market, to be competitive, to access funds, and to scale up the businesses. Has currently been at work for 1 year right now. Can you hear me? My internet is unstable. Can you hear me?
You are quite low, Christine.
Yeah, my internet says unstable. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can now.
Okay. Right, yes. So the Green and Digital Innovation Hub aims to be a one-stop shop. So what we do is that we like to see ourselves as people who are contributing to the digital transformation of Kenyan MSMEs by supporting people, have the right skill set, be able to access the right funding, whether it's venture capital or loans or equity. We'd like to be able to support people to test their innovations. And we also offer linkages in terms of ecosystem building. And the GDH is a consortium of 8 organizations, most of which are big players in the innovation ecosystem in Kenya, such as ACTS, where I work, African Center for Technology Studies. We also have JKUAT, Jomo Kenyatta University. We have CARLO, which is the Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research Organization. We have KIRDI, Kenya Industrial Research Development Institute. We have Konza Technopolis, I think you know about Konza City, and we have Kenya National Innovation Agency, Kenya. So 6 organizations came together to form the GDH to be able to support in various aspects. So we've been holding a number of webinars as part of our skills development and ecosystem building to be able to help to give a chance to innovators to come and listening to experts. And today we're very, very fortunate to have one such expert who is actually an innovator who has gone through the whole cycle of, testing his innovations, of taking them to market, of feeling the feedback from the market and coming back and changing them. So it's really such an honor to have Dr. Agan Oscar, who is an innovator and who has invented quite a number of things, who has been able to patent. And we're very keen about patent and intellectual property. So we're looking forward to hearing his insights on how he feels young innovators in Kenya today can be able to scale up their innovations. He'll be able to briefly talk about some pitfalls which you should watch out for, and how to come out on the other side, and to work in this market, because this is Kenya is a very tough market. But Dr. Agan Oscar has over 5 patents, I believe. These are some of the things that we're showcasing today. He'll be able to speak about some of the things which is patented, some of his innovations, award-winning innovation. If Dr. Oscar has been able to succeed in this market, I believe young innovators, young MSMEs definitely stand a chance. And we're very fortunate to have him here today to talk to us about that. Please feel free to, every time you have a question or you hear something that you might want to probe later, because we don't want to interrupt Dr. Agan when he starts speaking. Please type your question on the chat, and we'll be able to take those after about around 45 minutes. So without further ado, I think I'll just welcome Dr. Oscar to introduce himself. I don't think I can do justice himself and say a bit about himself, and then he can go straight into the conversation of this afternoon. Thank you to all those who managed to join us, and we hope you enjoy the webinar.
Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, everyone. Good afternoon, distinguished guests, innovators, researchers around, and all participants of today's webinar. My name's Dr. Agan Oscar, and I am a serial entrepreneur with a lot of focus on management of waste and engineering. Basically, I am a medical epidemiologist by training, but I think over the last 20 years or so, I've sort of diverted a lot of my focus on innovation and engineering. So I have been deeply engaged in turning ideas into sustainable solutions, solutions that really address the challenges we have in waste management, in clean energy, in food security for both human beings and animals, and affordable housing. Now, today, I want to share with you lessons that I've learned, the sort of obstacles I've come and that I've actually come across, and the strategies that make technology transfer a success. I have innovated in areas of plastic. I have innovated in areas of biomass. I have innovated in areas of engineering because I've run an engineering firm for almost 25 years. And I have also innovated in areas to do with building technology. Now, when you look at innovation, or you look at actually most of these innovations starts from the research phase, where I've identified challenges, but sort of those challenges are ultimately turned into opportunities, as you realize that every great innovation begins with research. In many cases,
Sorry about that. We've muted Zach.
is somebody talking?
Sorry, I think when people join, sometimes they join
forget.
and they are muted. Yes.
Yeah, that's it. That's normal. Okay. I'm saying that every innovation begins with research, not just academic inquiry, but a deep understanding of problems that need solving. Like in my case, or in the kind of assignments I do, I saw environmental crisis caused by plastic. That is about 20 years back. And the need to have affordable housing. And there was a pressing challenge too that followed from energy sustainability. And then instead of viewing these obstacles, I saw opportunities. Opportunities where I had the chance to rethink waste, to repurpose resources, and create impactful products. Now, research is only viable, from my experience, when it is applied. I know a lot of my listeners now are researchers, but I think from my understanding is that research is only viable when it is applied. That is, when that idea is moved beyond academic paper and to enter the realm of prototyping and practical implementation. So when you talk about transition from research to innovation, innovation actually requires creativity. From my experience, it requires a lot of creativity. It requires a lot of persistence because it's a painful process where you spend a lot of your personal resources in many cases. And the first version of the idea that you get out on trying to innovate is rarely perfect because it revolves around testing, it involves around adaptation and refinement. In my case, where I started with plastic recycling, I moved it from basic concept to a patented solution. I started with the first was to try and melt plastic into a construction product. And that was what you call the resin bonded roofing tile. And then moved on plastic to making fencing posts, which are commonly used today in fencing. And I also went ahead and made lumber planks that are economically useful and developed it further into building blocks. Actually, the building block idea was the most interesting because when I started with doing the building block from waste plastic, I did it for a military camp when I was on an assignment in Somalia, in Mogadishu. So we built up blocks from plastic because I had an extruder there. And that block was used for building what you call a shooting range. It's actually used by the American military in Somalia. And we found out that that plastic block was actually impenetrable because there was no bullet that would go through. But back to the Kenyan situation, I picked up the plastic, the waste plastic, and sort of crushed it into subjected to crush it to break it down. And then started on a journey on trying to mix that plastic with other organic matter. I tried low sulfur river sand, which ultimately worked because I had to filter or to sieve it. But the high sulfur sand, like the one that you get from Mai Mahiu, or the dark one that is used in construction did not work because it doesn't hold. I don't know for what reason. But
allow me to interrupt you a bit. I think our participants are not seeing your face. We need to adjust your camera right a bit. Sorry about that. We're not able to see your face. Can we adjust your camera? I think two participants really want to see this great man. So
that's a bit of I'm not very good on IT.
okay.
Yeah,
I
Alex,
think
we
to be
can now
very
see you.
careful here. I
Thank
just
you.
have to make do. But
that's fine.
the process was very interesting, and I must admit that it was expensive. But I think with the high aspiration that was there and the high hopes that was there, I had to make do with what I had. I went through various tests, which involved stress level tests with the road Ministry of Public Works in South, is it in along Dunga Road? And then once I'd gotten the parameters on what the property of that tile was, I realized that it could stand high heat because it had no thermal conductivity. It was so strong that I ran my car on it, but it did not break. The water that I collected for it, when I took that water to a laboratory, was just as good as water harvested from what you call a water tank. And then I tried burning it. I poured super petrol on it and it did not burn. So that gave me the confidence to troop down to Kenya Industrial Property Institute because I had the writing already. So that is where the nightmare was, because it took me almost 10 years to get it patented. There was a lot of back and forth. In fact, patenting at that time was worse off than doing a PhD program, because you'll do it so many times, so many questions, back and forth. Every time you lodge your reply, there's always some payment to be done. And you wonder, like, how much is it going to cost you at the end of it? So you find that it was a challenge, but I soldiered on and got my patent, my first patent in 2013. And that's a journey that I started in 2001. Ultimately, we got the tile, and it's a working tile. It's been adapted locally, it's been adapted internationally, and it seems to be a success. It is a success case, I must say. So now, using that resin innovation that I came with, we can turn that resin into fencing posts, can turn the resin into building blocks, we can turn the resin into lumber planks to make furniture. My journey did not stop there. I went on to also innovate on biomass. And in biomass recycling, I ended up with both domestic and industrial briquettes, which were very useful. And it didn't take too long, but we finally got a good patent because we came up with a couple of mixtures. There was biomass, there was paper, and there was a bond, what you call a bonding agent, which when we subjected to burn or to fire, it burnt with that very minimal, very minimal smoke or emission in that case. And then we went on to try the uncarbonized one and ended up with what you call industrial briquettes, which are working today. Then the urge to do a cook stove started. So we tried on a cook stove, looking at various, because I ran an engineering organization. The strength I think I have at my back is having an engineering access to engineering place where I can play around with any type of metal that I want to experiment. The cook stove went very well, and it won the 2024 Energy Award. But we didn't stop there. We went ahead and further developed that cook stove into a solar-powered cook stove. Now, in the process of trying to identify various sources of energy, I bumped across some volcanic stones, different volcanic stones. And what I realized is that volcanic stones can burn when subjected to aeration, a lot of aeration. And that's how we ended up with a cook stove that was solar powered, because on that cook stove, we had a fan that will continuously blow the pumic stones, or what you call the volcanic stones, and it had no emission. And in my research, I realized that I only needed 5 kilos of those volcanic stones integrated with my domestic briquettes to burn for a whole year. So we ended up with a very useful cook stove that we also integrated solar lighting. It's perfect for a rural setup home. When my mother is cooking in the kitchen, the children could be reading. And on that same gadget, we also installed a charging system, so you can charge your phone. And there was also space to interlock and put in an internet access. So somebody in the village or any woman cooking in the village has access to lighting, clean energy, and also it burns. I mean, the combustion was quite high, almost as close to LPG gas. That took me to a very higher level of innovation because I realized that is a product that, when rolled out commercially, should be able to sort a lot of rural areas. I'm focusing currently on the refugee community with it. Designing and going through the process has drastically reduced in the recent past. And Kipi, I think, from my experience, got your document lodged in about 6 months, 4 to 6 months. You should be able to get your patent. And patents differ from design, the process, and there are times that you have what you call, but it's easier than what I did many years back. Then I didn't stop there. I went on to try cement because I ran a stone crushing enterprise somewhere in Western Kenya. And in the process of crushing stones, there was a lot of what you call very fine ash, very fine dust that I realized if I picked up the quarry dust, we call it quarry dust. I picked up the quarry dust, mixed it with a bit of some cement, and then I had developed a reagent on it. I ended up with a very light block, which could drastically reduce the cost of construction. It's very light, but very strong. We call it what you call the light concrete cement, and it worked perfectly well. We've tried it a bit on some paving blocks, and I know that it is a solution to the affordable housing challenge that this country faces. The innovation did not stop there. On the part of biomass, I went ahead and developed an animal feed salt, which I realized that when I gave animals, would also turn their skin to be very shiny because it had a lot of nutrients. And the innovation there wasn't just the salt that we developed, but I realized that for areas like Kitale or Trans Nzoia, where we've got excess agricultural waste, that could be used. We'll harvested that waste, crushed it into powder, added the salt and other ingredients, and pelletized that. And we realized that that sort of animal feed, when given to animals like cattle, like donkeys, like goats and sheep, would make them eat quite a bit. I mean, under normal circumstances, a cow would eat between 35 and 40 kilos every day. And for ours, we only needed to give it about 15 kilos and it will still maintain the right amount of milk production, and the body or the skin would look very well. So that gave us a breakthrough on animal feeds. But on the other side, I was also trying, because I keep trying different things. I tried out mixing a couple of waste food and waste biomass, ended up with an enzyme after a fermentation process that took me about 12 days. So I developed an enzyme that, when used on any decomposed matter, then will increase the yield of the product, because that decomposed matter would have most of what I call fertilizer elements. And I proved it. It's taken to Calro. We got the results, brought it to Kipi, patented it. And today, when we apply that fertilizer on maize, we apply it on legumes, we apply it on different plants, then the yields range between 40 to 70% increase. That gave us a breakthrough, a big breakthrough on fertilizer. But the challenge that I've still took up ahead was to develop a faster and much more modern way of decomposition, because initially I would dig a hole, then compost my biomass in there. Now today I realize I don't have to do that because I came up with something called a thermophilic high heat composting chamber. It's like a container. It was a 10-foot container, which is solar powered. And we had what you call air sensors in it to extract air from the atmosphere. And we had sensors fitted on it that would extract nitrogen and carbon dioxide to concentrate on the biomass that was decomposing in there. And we realized that in 10 to 15, in 15 to 20 days, whatever we'd put in there would turn out to be really, really rich organic fertilizer. So that has now come up as a solution. Instead of us making fertilizer mechanically, all I need to do is to put up a container next to a waste generating place, solar powered, have it decomposed, and using the very, very what I call enzyme that I developed at some point would be poured in there, and you end up with fertilizer at grassroots level. And I'm yet to roll it out, but it helped me win the Voice of Africa challenge last year. Now, these innovations would not exist if I'd stopped at research paper or at research level. And what I've learned today is that the key is to embrace design thinking. You got to be a very good designer, think out of the box, and it calls for a lot of collaboration with different stakeholders because you try them in different places, different areas, and you test continually to improve your prototype until they are market ready. Coming to the fertilizer, the tile, the fencing posts, have most of them gone to the market, and you realize today the government has adapted the use of plastic posts in most of the roads around for reasons that they are very durable in terms of environmental stability. They don't rot, and vandalizers have no interest in them because they want nothing to do with it after they vandalize it. They can't use them as firewood, and that won me the Order of the Grand Warrior from the former president, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. Innovation alone is just not enough. It must be commercially viable. And to bring ideas to market, you need to consider as an innovator a model that will let you transfer your technology. Because once you have a technology that works, then you attract a lot of other people who want to use this locally and internationally. So you got to be ready to go into partnerships where you can go into earning royalty or a joint venture, and also at times drop away legally where you license somebody through a patent. Then we also need to consider business strategies where you can scale up the innovations while maintaining sustainability. I have scaled up to Somalia, and we are also moving into South Sudan because scaling these innovations drop a big impact on those who are interested in using a technology. Then the other part that you got to also consider is the funding opportunities that are available. You got to keep knocking doors. Anytime you present, there are people who want to partner with you. And in many cases, people who want to partner end up sort of investors in the kind of journey that I have taken. A number of them come with grants when I present to impact investors. And there are cases where there has been equity and joint ventures in and out of the country. Now, in my work, commercializing innovations meant aligning my technology with real world needs. That, what I mean is that providing communities with affordable green solutions that support economic development. These have also not gone without challenges, because challenges are there and are part of the journey. Technology transfer comes with quite a number of challenges, especially.
Doc?
Yes. Just go on.
Oh, sorry, I thought I'd lost you, but I think it's my internet. Sorry, go ahead. I think it was my internet.
Technology comes with a lot of challenges on matters funding. And that's why, as an innovator, I think it's important that you partner with institutions, large institutions that can support in terms of research. And you also need to partner with those that are already in the market so that you develop a strong market acquaintance. And there are also regulatory processes that also slow down innovation. My experience sometimes is that when I took my product, like when I took my plastic tile to KEBS, they bluntly told me they do not have standards. So I had to lure them to get into a committee, and we developed standards that we came up with, and that also worked for my paving block. So standardizing innovation at times when it gets to the market is sometimes a challenge that needs to be addressed. But these barriers are not roadblocks. They are hurdles that can be overcome. And some of the key strategies that are found out in these hurdles are that you got to be a part of a team that advocates for policy. You got to be a strong network and network strategist. You got to be in the network and collaborate with a number of partners. And then there also got to be some other business models to develop when you got to get your product to reach the market. It takes resilience, it takes focus, it takes somebody with a bigger heart to get this together. And as I look ahead today from Africa, the future depends on research-driven entrepreneurship. If we invest in local innovation, in sustainable solutions, and in technology transfer, then we will create industries and new jobs and a healthier planet. So I encourage every listener here, whether you're a researcher or whether you're an entrepreneur or a policymaker, to see research not as an end point, but as a starting point for transformation. So let's move from ideas to impact, from theory to practice, and from innovation to commercialization. I'd like to invite questions from that point.
Thank you very much, Daktari. I think this was such a great talk. I think I was actually just jotting down, which is why I even switched off my camera, because there's so much to capture. And for me, this is the second time listening to you, so I can imagine there's quite a lot of excitement, and we have a very good turnout today. I've seen quite a number of people, a lot of them researchers, also talking about how they can connect with you. I think maybe this is something we'll discuss later. We have quite a number of doctors, researchers in the house. We would love to have everybody tell us where they're from, and if they can leave their contacts, then we can have a database of people who have joined, and you can reach out to, maybe in case you have a write-up that you'd like to share. Additionally, we are recording this session, so I know a lot of people were also struggling like me to write down a lot of things, and they can be able to reach to go through the recording again to tap onto these insights. I think I can invite Jerry to coordinate or to moderate the next session. I think for me, it was very interesting when you talked about the process of patenting your innovation. The first time it took 10 years and the second time it took 4 months. So I think that's very encouraging, even as we are supporting innovators right now, because we're currently in the process of teaching them about IP, about patent registration, especially for their green and digital innovations. And our team is learning on how to do the patent processing because they're being supported by Kipi as well. And we've been told to wait for 2 years, but you said 4 months, and I'll take your word for it because you're. So I think this is encouraging that the process of protecting your idea has now the innovation ecosystem is a bit more robust, even as you've been introducing your innovations. And so for me, that was a really a great standout. And I think another thing that you talked about was about partnering with people in the market. Maybe that's something that I'd want to know, because we find a lot of researchers who have an idea, and the linkage between research is an industry sometimes is not as smooth as we'd like it to be. So, I mean, in your experience, how do you get industry to be interested in a solution that you may have identified in a certain community? How do you get a corporate, for example, to buy into this solution? That linkage, I believe, is very important, especially for researchers.
Absolutely. Let me give you my experience on partnerships here on matters, because when I came up with the fertilizer, a lot of my work is online. If you Google Dr. Gan, Oscar. So on fertilizer, after I tried it with a couple of cooperatives, I partnered with a couple of coffee farmer cooperative, what you call coffee cooperative farmers and tea cooperative farmers, because it was a solution to them, a lot more affordable. Then I think, given that was online, then I got some Israelis who came in, and I realized they are an international organization, quite strong in the Middle East. So they picked up my samples and went and tested in a university in Israel. And it happened that it actually met what they were expecting and what they are looking for. So when they came back, they are called Pilat Africa. They picked up that concept and went ahead to sign what you call a manufacturing contract. So in other words, I'll be manufacturing under their brand. And that has picked up so well, and they are quite strong, because Israelis, as you all know, are very strong on agricultural technology. And they're already in the country, in Meru, in Kericho, in Nandi Hills, trying to really develop popularize that brand, the basic fertilizer that I developed. So partnership here called for us signing what you call an MOU, which had terms and conditions, and then the MOU gave birth to a contract manufacturing. And given that they go out and actually demonstrate experientially out with the farmers, not just go on radio or go using media, but they go to the ground. They've managed to win numerous thousands of farmers in both Central and what you call the former Rift Valley. So the journey towards working with industry has been quite encouraging, because when they picked up that product, they tested and found that's exactly what they wanted. The magic in that is actually the enzyme that I patented. That enzyme works miracles. They tried it out in coffee, they tried it out in tea, they've tried it out in what you call cassava, on what you call cassava and potatoes, and it works miracles. It works miracles because in a very short while you find that the yield that you get from coffee berries, the yield that you get on tea leaves is just awesome. So it is encouraging that when you work as an innovator, then you also have develop an open mind to bring in industrial players. The construction industry has also quite adapted our fencing post. Kenha today has been a strong pillar to us, because ever since we started working to provide them with fencing posts, you can see the whole of Nairobi today roads made with fencing posts. So I think one of my breakthroughs is how to have managed to what you call partner with industries and corporate organizations to see my products get to the market.
Yes, that's right. That's correct. And I think that's usually quite the gap that innovators miss. So I think I want to invite, we have quite a number of attendees today. I'm seeing that the number of questions, but I can, I think Dr. Laura Simiyu, do you want to unmute and ask your question? I think what she's, if you'd like to unmute, although I can start reading out your question.
Okay.
Oh, you're there, Dr. Simiyu? Go ahead.
Yes, I'm here. Thank you so much for the good presentation. I just wanted to ask a few questions. One, when you are doing the patenting process, were your products already in the market, or you were just patient until you finished patenting before you commercialized? And then two, where did you get all this information that you had for you to have a smooth patenting process? Because sometimes somebody has the idea, yes, but they don't know where to start or how to go about it. And then in as far as funding is concerned, do you have a platform where you get information on the people who might want to fund innovations, or do you just look out for them and then maybe write to them and meet up and discuss? And then lastly, if at all you did any publishing on your work, did you experience any challenges? Because most of the time they want you to reference previous works, and now with innovation there might be very little, maybe just standards only are the only things that you could be able to reference. So how smooth was it for you to publish? That's all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Doctor. Quite a number of questions. I'll start with the first one. Was it to do with the market, how I got to the market? Initially, I didn't take my products to market until I got them patented. I know the risk of taking a product to the market, so I did not take my product to market until I patented it, especially the roofing tile and the organic fertilizer. I was very cautious on that because, there are hawks out there. Then, in relation to time, I told you my first journey to get my patent took me almost 10 years. It was a war between me and Kipi. And that's why I compare it to getting a PhD, because the back and forth that was there was very painful. But at times, I think when you talk with, there are times that we met in forums and talked to them and expressed our frustration. And Kipi has been quite a listening body. I know for now that if you got your documents right, you got your process right, then in 4 to 6 months you should be able to get your patent. And I've got evidence that it works. On matters funding, I have a network of where I'm involved in a number of networks where they are always whether you call them investors or research organizations looking for concepts. And I write and they call me to present. And in many cases, I've won those grants. And those same grants are what I've used to build my empire. It is a tricky situation because if you're not in those networks, then it's difficult for you to really get access. But I think I'm fortunate to have been in those networks. And in many cases, when I try and apply, then I'll end up winning because I believe that these innovations are unique and they sort of have a big, what you call, potential of impact to the society. In many cases, when doing your patent, Kipi helps you when the network, they actually give you references at times that would help you also dig deeper into people elsewhere who are doing something close to what you're doing or something similar to what you're doing. And they help with providing quite a bit of some references in the process once you've registered for the patenting process. I don't know if I've answered you rightly.
Yes, you have.
Yeah,
All right.
thank you.
All right, thank you so much.
And then just,
Go
sorry
ahead.
to interrupt. Okay, so now regarding the funding, I don't know if, is it possible for you maybe to share some of the platforms you approach when you need funding? And then
Yes. The reality out here, Doctor, is that there's a lot more money than what you're looking for. The reality. But you got to be extra careful. You got to do a lot of extra work to get that money. For all these awards that I've won, the awards that I came across online, maybe at some point we'll one day meet and share some of these links. You simply pick up what is there because they are seasonal, apply, go through the stages. And if you are good in your presentation and it's a real innovative idea, they look at the impact that in many cases they have the money to grant you to push on. That's my experience. If you looked, I've won over 40 awards. Locally and internationally. And most of these awards come with grants, which enable me to push my concept to the market. So you need to be in the network, which I think when you get to know one another further, then I should be able to share with you a number of networks that are there. There are very many, I must say so.
Okay. That is quite encouraging. Thank you so much. And then now lastly on the publications, did you publish any papers and did you have any problem the publishers accepting your information because of the scantiness in the referencing?
Oh, a lot of my publications are with the university I went through in the UK. They had a publishing house and they'll encourage you to write and they'll also get you linkages there. So they knew that when he came back to Africa and stood out as innovators, then there was quite a lot of pride from their side because they were my trainers in this. And they all encouraged us to send writings to be published on their magazines or their journals on the other side to showcase, like at some point we had an African here who did this and is currently doing this to impact, and that positively impacts on the name of the university or the institution that you went through. So I must say that the kind of publications that were there are mostly on the university journals there, and they use them to encourage other students to join in as a platform to transform students to become good innovators.
Okay, well answered. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Laura, for opening the floor. I see Yasin from Uasin Gishu County says he's doing potato farming in Timboroa. Yasin, do you want to ask your question? Yasin, do you want to unmute and ask your question?
Clarified. Okay. I'm just doing this the potato farming, large scale potato farming in Timboroa.
Yes.
And actually, recently you saw that there was that findings by Egerton University. They were saying that the potato from Nyandarua has high content of fertilizer, which actually is harmful to the market. So I'm trying actually to come up with a solution on how we can leverage by using the organic manure from the sheep, so that our potatoes can be accepted even in the larger franchise like KFC, because those are some of the factors they can't accept the local potatoes. So maybe I wanted Dr. actually maybe to guide me on how we can do it, and also that the entire process of how we can patent these fertilizer and also pesticide. Like potato farming, after every 14 days you have to spray. You have to spray after every 14 days, which is actually becoming costly, and actually the product it's becoming a health risk to the consumer. So maybe Dr. you can guide me what is the best, what are the best practices, and also the entire process of maybe actually doing in terms of patenting my product, so that I can also distribute to the local farmers around me. Thank you.
Actually, when I started, the first market I went to after developing my fertilizer was to Nyahururu, where a lot of the farmers, when I went there, I gave almost a truckload. I gave, I think, about 50 bags of fertilizer for trial. And those that came back to me after 6 months say that their yields increased between 40 and 70%. And the fact that it was actually 100% organic, it's not manure, it's fertilizer. There's a difference between manure because manure is simply a soil conditioner. A fertilizer has most of the 9 elements required in a fertilizer. So there's a bit of a big difference there. But potato is one of the crops that I first succeeded with to come on board to the market. And then went on now, currently I am in the coffee and I am in tea and I am in cereals in Kitale and other places. It is working, it's 100% organic and not just for Kenyans. As I told you, the Israelis who are actually exporting it to the Middle East. So it means it's also working there because there are repeat orders there. But as Caroline earlier said, you'll get the link and then they'll be able to link us up together to look on how to improve and help you get a patent. For a patent, it's a procedure. You got to apply, go to Kenya Industrial Property Institute, but you go there when you will have tested your product with CALRO, KFIS. Those are preliminary tests that you must do before you patent. So the first stage is to take your whatever substance or fertilizer or substrate to CALRO for testing. At some point, you'll end up with KFIS, but after that is when you go to KIPI, where it can be patented, because KIPI is the only body. Once you go via KIPI, you can move regionally through what you call this KIPI. Before you get to WIPO, there is one in between here. I've just forgotten the name. Then, but so long as you have a patent from KIPI, then you are good to go in the market, you are safe. But it's a process, not an event.
Okay. All right, thank you. Thank you so much, Daktari, for that answer. I think Grace wanted to know if you're making money from all your patents, or are there some which have, they didn't work out? And I see we also have a Presidential Commonwealth Innovation Award winner 2023, Kenneth Kimathi. I think we can also, he says he's from Wafugaji Trading Hub. We can invite him to ask a question as you answer Grace's question about whether you're making money from all your patents.
Absolutely. Let me answer Grace. Yes, those that are already the products that are in the market, I am making money because I've not closed down. Depending on the kind of arrangements, like for fertilizer, I went into what you call contract manufacturing with a couple of people. And when I contract manufacture, then I make money from what you call royalties. And sometimes I also have organizations that have come in via franchising model, like in Somalia, where my tiles are. It's a franchise. You could Google African Solutions there. They're based in Mogadishu, and I have a stake in it out of the royalty that I am and the technology. I don't know if I've answered Grace.
I think, okay, Grace, do you have a follow-up to your question, or is that clear? Are you still here?
Yes,
And Kenneth Kimathi? Kenneth, would you also like to unmute and ask your question?
Thanks for having me in this meeting. Actually, I don't have any question. I'm still learning. Thank you.
Okay, all right, thank you. Eunice has her hand raised up. I think I'll hand over now to Jerry to moderate this next session. Jerry? Eunice, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Agan, for the nice presentation, and it's very encouraging to see how you've converted your research to commercialization. As you were presenting, something that caught my eye was when you talked about luring the agency to develop the standards that were fitting you. And as you spoke, I was trying to put myself in the shoes of a very young innovator who has just completed maybe his or her 4th year and is trying to maneuver with an innovation whose standards are not yet clear in the ecosystem. What tips would you have for such an innovator who I think maybe might not have that platform of trying to lure the agency to develop the standards for them? And maybe that is one question. And the last question could be that a lot of the problems that we have in commercializing research is that as a researcher in the university, you find that your promotions are more tied to your publications than to your innovations. Maybe from your experience, have you ever gotten a promotion because you've invented or you've innovated a lot of stuff out here and contributed a lot of knowledge? Do you think that there's encouragement for you from the university point of view, not from the financial that you gain from it, but as a researcher at your university? Do you get any forms of promotion from your innovations? Thank you. Those are my two questions.
Thank you. That's Eunice?
Yes, Eunice.
Yeah, Eunice, KEBS is the only, KEBS is the national standardization body. Now, for me, I came up with a product. It was already being bought in the market, and I wanted a situation where I could have it standardized. So when I went to KEBS and they told me they did not have standards for the tile that I came up with, I'd earlier done some standardization with the University of Stellenbosch in South Africa. So I carried that result and went and discussed with them, and they sort of domesticated those standards here, and that is how I developed the standard. But initially, they're quite vulgar, I must say so. But as an innovator, I think by the time you come up with a product, then you've seen enough. You've seen all the worst. That even if there is a government body that is quite vulgar, you'll just go through it. Because by the time you see your product get to market, then you've faced numerous challenges. If it is KEBS to convince, so be it. I went ahead, put my foot down, I had basic standards, and they welcomed me at last. But if you just back out from the face out of it, then you won't go far. But as an innovator, it's important that you develop resilience. You develop a thick skin towards people who don't buy into your idea. And at some cases, I remember when I started with my tile, I was pushed out of that senior common room at the University of Nairobi because they told me it can't work, but it is working. It has worked. So be resilient. Now, in terms of promotions, there are cases where, yes, in many cases for me, it's different because the universities come knocking doors. I got my second scholarship from Catholic University of Milan. They came knocking doors out of the innovation that I had on, because I developed that roofing tile into a solar tile, and they gave me a full-time scholarship. And today I teach at one of the agencies called Tangaza University in Karen. So depending on how exposed you are to the university, I think publishing gives you a good platform to get promoted or to get absorbed into an institution of higher learning. I encourage you to publish, patent if you can, but the university doors are still open and numerous. If it is a good innovation, numerous research institutions and platforms will actually absorb you.
Okay, thank you, Doc.
Thank you.
Anyandiala, can you unmute and ask your question if you are still around? Anne is saying, how do you connect to funders for new innovators? Which networks of funders do you have? Can you share with us the links? Okay, that one is that. Okay, I think that one you said you will do.
Yeah, thank you. I'm around.
Yes.
Yes, I'm around. So I am Anne, a new researcher with an idea, and I'm really looking forward if I can get connection so that we may get some funding to improve whatever the idea we have. I tested it on the farm, but because the money was not enough, it was working. And now the problem is now to replicate it and to also to publish the work. So money is a problem. Yet, Dr. I've just mentioned that there's a lot of money outside there. Now the challenge is, how do we connect to these people who can fund? Because I'm very sure that he has done some work, it's easier for him to get the funding or to get connection. But for those who are still young and trying and still looking for somewhere to connect, it's a challenge. So my request is, if Dr. can get us together, then we come as a group, as young fund innovators in Kenya, then we share our ideas, then you connect us, we implement. I think Kenya will be a better place.
Absolutely, absolutely. And as Caroline earlier stated, they'll get all the database so that they get to link us, me and those who want, so that we bring you into the network. There is a lot of funding money out there, but you got to be within the network. If you're not in the network, then you're out. You're out of reach. You got to be within the network. The networks are there. You got a good idea. I'm still alive, and I'm grateful to ACTS. I'm sure they're going to develop a platform where we can all link together and then share the networks of funding that are there. But if you got a good idea, I'll encourage you to keep it up. There is a day when you will meet your funder.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Francis Odori is asking, what is the brand name of your fertilizer in the market? I don't want to speculate.
Francis, I manufacture, I'm a contract manufacturer to a number of people. There is Rotuba Eco Biofertilizer, there's Rotuba Biofertilizer, there is what you call Pilat Advanced Fertilizer, which is the Israeli brand, and there is Eco Rotuba. So we have 3 brands out there, because I've told you that I contract manufacture for a number of people. They come in with their brand and we give them the fertilizer under their brand. There is Rotuba Biofertilizer, there is Pilat Advanced Fertilizer, and there is Eco Rotuba. I don't know whether I've answered Francis adequately.
That is good enough. Yeah, thanks, Doc. So another question is from Kipchichir Edwin, asking how the process of patenting can be fastened. I know, yes, patent is a regional. Once you have given patent in Kenya, the rest are now just logistics, but how can it be fastened? I know that the process is long and sometimes tiresome, so it's just asking, what are the measures you can put in place to try and fasten the patenting process?
Sorry,
Edwin.
Doc, before we get into that one, can we take a number of questions? Because I see our time is running out. And I see Jack, I think Dr. I think there are about 3 hands which were raised up that we can allow to ask the questions. Then you can answer at least 3 questions at once. So I think there was Dr. Boniface. Was your hand up or?
Yeah. My hand was up, and thank you for this opportunity. And thank you, Dr. Oscar, for representing our organization well, that is OBPA. Yeah, now I'd like to ask you, Dr. what is that unique thing that you tell investors, all the funders, so that they can create that keen interest in your project? Because occasionally I've done some pitches, and I don't know what is the trick about winning a grant. Thank you.
Right. Let me first answer Edwin on matters of time. Edwin, you got to appreciate the fact that we've moved it for 10 years to 4 months. I think Kipi has tried, if you get it's not easy to patent, I must tell you. Your facts have to be right, your data has to be correct, your format has to be acceptable, and it can take as low or as low as 4 months. So they've reduced it. My first patent took around 10, 11 years. Then to Brother Boniface, Dr. Boniface, what is unique is that as an innovator, you are a social transformer in waiting. Because your innovation is going to transform the society. In many cases, you end up somebody you call a social entrepreneur. And as describe it rightly, a social entrepreneur is somebody who comes in, sees a social challenge, or identifies a social challenge, then transforms that challenge into an opportunity. Mine was to see that there was a challenge in waste. And we've turned waste into an opportunity to build affordable houses, to feed animals, to even build houses, because we recycle houses now, and we can build houses at 40, 50% cheaper using recycled material. And what you need is that you got to be unique in terms of your social transformation. You got to be impactful. You got to be impactful in terms of technology, in terms of environment, in terms of technology. Then there is where you come in the question that addresses sustainability. So be a transformer, be impactful, and be sustainable. That's the uniqueness that you need to demonstrate to any investor out there to buy into you. If you're out of those 3, 4 quarters, then it's difficult. But I know that if the idea is innovative, then it must be socially transformative. When it becomes socially transformative, then it must be impactful. And when it is impactful, then the element of sustainability must come in if you got your idea to be bought in. Thank you. Boniface?
Dr. Boniface, are you satisfied with the answer?
Yes, Jerry, yeah, I am satisfied with the idea, and I'll see Daktari behind the tent so that I can get the hands on the doing. Thank you.
Wonderful. I'm also Dr. Caroline, please.
Yes.
You can help me proceed because my internet there is a blackout here. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm not
Paulistana.
using
Okay.
my phone. Yeah, I'm not using
All right.
my
I
phone.
think Jack had a question. Jack, your hand was
Yes.
up. Yes, go ahead.
Yes, my hand was up. Thanks, Dr. Agan. I think we've met several places in terms of pitches or connections. I know you are part of the Royal Academy of Engineering Africa Prize this year. Oh, for sure, you are doing wonderful, good job, which we have to appreciate. I'm Jack, founder, CEO of Vertical. I've also been doing a lot of work on the background. My question for Daktari, I'm just kind of wondering because you are kind of doing a lot of things at the same time. So I'm curious to know, how do you manage to be effective across these different fields, minus looking your strategic focus? And I'm wondering to see if maybe this kind of diversification in terms of the product that you're producing is your bigger vision. And do you believe in exploring multiple ideas until you take one off? And I'm also keen to understand what's your kind of your revenue model. How do you make money apart from licensing and franchising your patents and technologies to other people? And how do you make money with the actual products? Maybe just to add on what people have been questioning here on patents. I believe, because I've done several patents like him before, but I believe that patents not the right way maybe to go. So you really need to know why you are doing this innovation. So if you want to patent, then you need to discuss with maybe if you have a patent attorney or people have done this before to advise you why you really need that patent. For example, if your products does not need patent to sell, then I don't think there's no need of wasting time, money and resources to patent, because maintaining patents are very expensive, managing patents are very expensive, and you see patents expires. So you might find yourself working on a patent for 10 years, and then you don't maintain 1 year, it expires, then it gives leverage for other people to use it. And you also patenting is also publishing. So if you patent with KIPI, then that means the information is in the public domain, and anybody can access it. And you see the rule of patents that if somebody can tweak a little bit of your project, maybe like, yes, 10 or 20 aspects that you never included, then it becomes a new innovation. So you can be having the basic idea, but somebody come up with more advanced of what you've done, then it becomes another patent. And yeah, if you are looking for maybe international patents like UK, US, then probably you will go for those high-end patents. Yeah, so I would just like advise the other people that are looking for patents that maybe you really don't need to focus much on the patents, but maybe you have to build the business. Those who are trying to start off, maybe they focus more of non-diluting financing, minus diluting whatever they're working on, maybe not trust for investors or loans and other things. And yeah, so Daktari, thanks for the good work. And thanks,
Yes,
Jerry, for inviting me.
yes, Jack. Naturally, I'm a multitasker. A multitasker in the sense that can do numerous things at the same time. That's how I was born. And I think that's why I didn't glue up to live as as an epidemiologist to date. I first went in, did my epidemiology, left epidemiology, qualified as a chartered financial analyst, left that, went to become a chartered waste manager, and today I'm a certified project manager. So the kind of lifestyle and the kind of situations that I find myself in, has actually made me very dynamic. I can imagine I would still be working in a hospital, looking at how many people are infected or the rate at which diseases infect a population. It's good, but I'm the kind of person that multitasks and I get bored very fast. I can't sit on something for too long. That is why once I get an innovation, my brain doesn't stop. It jumps onto the next thing, and that's how I was born, and that's how I've managed to do this. Now, the good thing that I must thank God for, that is giving me the ability to multitask. I can run my clinic on the other side, I can run my factories on the other side, and I can still teach and also coach a number of youth organizations that I work for. Now, in relationship to patents are there to protect skills. The skill that is there, you don't go into patent to lock out people out of a technology. You go to protect your interest in that specific area. There is no monopoly of knowledge. It's not there. You got to be open to allow collaboration. When you have a patent, it expires. It's optional to renew it or to let it stay there. But the purpose of having a patent is to protect your what you call novel skill. So they do expire. You can also keep on renewing. After 10 years, I know they should be able to expire, but you can keep on renewing, and then you also got to allow people to think out of the way you think. So people could pick up your idea and go and or innovate it further. You don't die with it. Just encourage people, if they want to, let them go on, let them think deeper than you think. That's the way life is. That's the way you also become accommodative to the rest of the community that are watching you. So be a mentor. Sometimes it's time also, when time comes by, you move out of the dancing floor and let other good dancers come in.
Thank you, Daktari. That's a mic drop. Yes, move out of the dance floor. All right. I think Jonathan Mutonyi wanted to know if you have any ongoing work in sugarcane waste.
Absolutely. I have something in sugar. I'm working on something. Sugar is a very sensitive area. I've worked out something. I've tried out sugar beet. I've done the machine. Actually, John, if we roll out sugar beet, then we will reduce the cost because sugar beet only takes 4 to 6 months to mature, as opposed to sugar cane that takes 18 to 24 months to mature. Sugar cane actually has only 11.6% of sucrose, whereas sugar beet has 19.8. So look at the quality of sugar you're going to come in with. Look at the time frame you're going to come with. It is a sensitive area that I have researched on because there are a lot of big barons into it, but I have solutions I've already researched because I run a jaggery plant in Rongo, in somewhere in what you call Rongo is in Migori district. And I've had interest in sugar for quite a while. Now, the kind of way that sugar is done in this country is terrible. It's actually a poor man's crop because you got to wait for 18 months. Whereas we have an alternative which we just need to do in 5 to 6 months. So I'm quite familiar with sugar innovation. I have my innovation. I've done my machines because I make machines. I'm waiting for the ideal time to come and hit the market hard, which I'm sure I will in the very near future.
All right. Thank you, Daktari.
Can
I think
clarify
Hannah,
something more? Sorry.
or you, Jonathan, you want to
Jonathan?
pull up your question?
Yes, just to clarify,
Okay.
where I was coming from is in terms of waste valorization. In sugar, we have the fiber, something called bagasse. And all over Western Kenya, you see dumps and heaps of these products that is even causing displacement of communities in order to get solid waste disposal. So the current work that I am doing with a team from the UK, that is at Kibabi University, is to valorize this waste. So I got interested in that enzymatic, that thermophilic enzyme that can be able to digest and get organic fertilizer. That's the direction I was coming from, not sugar the crop, but waste products from sugar.
Absolutely, Jonathan. I am in that field. I am aware that because I do make what you call industrial briquettes from bagasse. But that is not the problem. The challenge, why I brought in the thermophilic high heat composting chamber, is that I was going to go into agreement with a couple of sugar companies to develop them, a couple of them, so that that can help them manage the bagasse there and offer affordable, much more affordable fertilizer to the factories.
The growers, yes.
Yeah, to the factories. Because the challenge is with the factories. Yeah. It's a big problem in Kibos. It's a big problem in Transmara. And NEMA is, I'm aware because I'm a NEMA lead expert. NEMA is on their neck. And yes. I've proposed that solution to them. It takes time because it's not cheap, but I'm already working on such a project on the thermophilic on how to work out or partner with the sugar companies to manage the vast or the massive what you call bagasse waste.
Thank you.
Thank you for clarifying your question, Jonathan. Thank you. We have a long question from Alexis Musabirema from Rwanda. Do you have a chance to actually voice your question? I think we're almost out of time, but I can give you a chance to voice your question. Alexis, you can unmute. Are you here, Alexis?
Okay, thank you, Caroline.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Agan, for the great experience shared. I am a young entrepreneur from Rwanda. I have two products that I want to launch out of the research findings. So I would like to hear from you about the experience before launching the products, because sometimes as young innovators, we don't know how it looks like when people are just finding the new products out of the search. So what are the things that can we prepare to ensure that we have the market traction at the launching day? And another question is about the preparations. So sometimes if we have a good preparations, maybe we can win or we can introduce what we have as the findings. In our case of a project funded by ACTS, we have two outcome. One is the research findings, another is the product that we are launching out of the research findings. So would you advise us to launch both output at the same day or separately? So if at the same day or separately, why? So those were my questions. Thank you.
There is, that is Alexis.
Yeah, Alexis.
Right. There is always, there's always the temptation to try, you do what you call the market test. You don't launch it out fully. You could do it in bits. You could do it segmented, not in one area, different areas, because the product might not appeal the same way to everybody else in the same place. So you could do what you call a test market in specific regions so that you see what the uptake's gonna be, what the feedback's gonna be before you go full blast. That should be able to warn you when there is danger or when there is an area that needs to be corrected before the product goes out full blast. So test market the product before you launch out full blast. I don't know if I've answered your question.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Doctor.
All right. Thank you, Alexis, and congratulations on being a young innovator. I think, Dr. Agan, one more question, I think, from Hannah Irungu, who says she's a farmer at Kajiado County, and she wanted to know about your fertilizer samples. Do you normally give farmers to do trial, or how do you? What is the process that you do that to find out if the product is effective?
Absolutely. Well, we'd gone past the trial stage. It's now at commercial stage. There are cases where we have farmers coming in and we give them a bag or two to go and try so that we see how the results are depending on the kind of crop, depending on the kind of product that she is targeting to propagate. Yes, when we get to meet and we listen, when we get to meet, because I tried it, as I told you, I tried it initially with potatoes, then moved to coffee, then moved to maize, moved to tea. Now I'm trying floriculture. And it's all worked. And all these have taken a process of trials. And then at times, when depending on how the crop is, you could, if it's too acidic or too alkalinic, we can always adjust because it's something organic. There are ranges within which we can adjust to suit a specific product, because we also do soil testing at some point where we test to see, then customize that product in relation to the target product. I don't know if I've answered you. Is it Hannah?
Hannah, yes, it was Hannah. I don't know if Hannah is still here, but yes, I think you've done justice to the question. I don't see any other hands up, and I see that we have run out of time. So, Daktari, okay, I think Brian Ochola is talking about the transparency process of patenting. Brian, do you want to unmute and ask that question? I think we'll just take this question and then we'll get Jerry. Will you be able to give a vote of thanks to Dr. Gan after Brian gives his question?
That is okay.
All right. Yeah. Okay, Brian, you want to ask your question?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Please ask your question.
Hello?
Go ahead. We can hear you. Yes, we are.
Thank you very much, Dr. for the nice presentation. Like, I have a question First of all, I'm a young aspiring innovator, not familiar with the field, but worried. Could Daktari validate for us the process, the transparency of the process of patenting? How and why, what could make innovation, once innovation be rejected? Thank you.
All right, not very clear, Brian, but I tend to think there's a process because KIPI has a website. Locally, it's only KIPI that patents, Kenya Industrial Property Institute. That's the only organization that we have that patents. And when you want to go regional, we have ARIPO. And when you go worldwide, we have WIPO. But I think the process starts from your local patenting agency, which in this case is Kenyan. Getting a patent through KIPI is like doing an exam. I told you I compared it to the PhD I did many years back, because you'll take it, it is rejected back, there are adjustments required. It's like you're doing an exam. It's not transparent where you know what the outcome, you can predict what the outcomes are. It's like an exam. That's what I compare it to. My experience was like, that's why I compare it to getting a PhD. You write, you're not sure whether the lecturer will pass that phase of proposal, but you wait until the results are out. In the event that they do not go through, then they tell you what to do and you readjust your paper. Then you do it again. It might go through, it might not go through. It's not a very easy process, I must say so. But I'm glad today that the time has come down. They are a lot more open. And in many cases, they also encourage you to do your very best. As I told you, you can now do it in 4 to 6 months from today. So my encouragement is that you go ahead. It's like sitting an exam. There's no real transparency there. You write you write your novel idea. It goes through a patenting process. There is a patent examination process that you go through, and it is rigorous. I must say so. It must be unique. It must be novel. There are a number of criteria that it must meet. But my encouragement is that take it up, give it a trial, and they'll always encourage you to get a patent. I don't know if I've answered you, Brian.
I'm satisfied.
Thank you, Brian. Jerry?
Thank you. Daktari, I know time has gone, but I had a small question, just a quick one in 1 minute.
Yes.
Dr. Agan, I know that there is a lot of synergy or how industry can work with academia. So you are already dealing with both. You are in industry and in academia, because there is a lot of research from universities that have never seen the light of the day. They are always channeled to what we call the value of academic death. So how would you advise both academia and industry, because they are heavily represented here? I did some research, and there was this this suspicion that the academia was saying that if the idea go to industry, it will not come back. It shall have been stolen. And also the industry is also saying that if academia come to industry, they will learn their secrets, and then something might happen. So how can you advise both academia and industry to synergize so that we can see most of the innovations coming out, academia are doing what they can do best and industry doing what they can do best, and both have a mutual benefit? Thank you.
That's a very encouraging question. I am an industrialist and I am in the academia field. My experience out of walking this journey for the last, because I've taught since almost 1999 or thereabout, there's need to have a very strong relationship between industry and the university. I realize today we industrialists do not really want to employ university graduates because there is not much exposure to reality. That exposure can not only be gotten in universities. The university must work out very closely with the university must work out very closely with the industry, because we industrialists see university graduates as having too much theory that doesn't add value. And the earlier the universities link or develop a collaborative arrangement with industrialists, the better. Look at Singapore, look at Europe. There's a very close relationship between university and the industries. And it is out of that, partnerships can be gotten in. And in many cases, there are a lot of opportunities in universities that will require what you call industrialists. So they need to work together. For me, there's a lot of funding lying idle in universities which require people from industries, and those are opportunities we innovators would want to exploit. And there's also need to strengthen their relationship, because if there is fear of your idea being stolen, then you might not as well as develop it. If you fear that your idea will be stolen, don't develop it. But it has to grow. And ideas being stolen there is a mitigation risk, and that's why KIPI is there. If you fear it's going to be stolen, patent it. But if you keep it there, then as Jerry, you say, it will end up into the valley of death. So let's bring in a bridge that links universities to manufacturers or industry, so that the ideas that are there within the academic field can be implemented and tried. You can't try it anywhere other than in industry. And for very successful, I know that Safaricom has a lot of people behind their innovations. They work very closely with a number of universities. And many other universities out there, like MIT in the States, work very closely with industries. And they work to an extent where there is there's a very clear flow from the idea to the what you call implementation stage, and to the rollout where the market receives it. So any organization really out here in industry that does also not do research risks the challenge of dying the natural death, because it is out of research that product development comes in. Products are dynamic, they're not static. They are dynamic. They need a research element into them that can make them very relevant to market needs as time goes by. So my encouragement, let there be a link between the academia and industry if we have to move from an ordinary third world country to a second world like Singapore. Thank you.
Okay, I see that we have we now have hands up, and we are running out of time. Dr. Can we indulge you for a few more questions? I see Abraham Nyaga and Philip Langat.
That's why I'm here. Let them ask questions. That is why we are holding this.
All right, so Abraham, then Philip. Abraham, you can ask your question. Abraham, can you unmute yourself and ask the question? Your hand is up. Okay, maybe we can start with Philip Langat.
Okay, thank you, Madam. Thank you, Daktari, for such a wonderful presentation. My question is to do with the fact that you have said knowledge is not a monopoly. We have to share knowledge. But I worked in a British multinational some 4 years ago, before I joined academia. And once they were welcoming visitors from China, from Japan, they used to hide their machines, especially the spinning on columns. You know, for distillation, we used to have very tall distillations, and when they come with the patterns of new inventions, they normally hide the innovations when the visitors are coming by covering with opaque material, so that they were fearing that Chinese have got watches which they can actually use to steal their innovations. So I'm seeing a situation that maybe as we share ideas, it also becomes a mining ground for others to steal before even you can tap into the innovation, or maybe you can enjoy the sweats of your idea. So if the British can hide their equipment, I think there is a need also to see a way out where you can even, after enjoying for 5 years, you can even leave it for others also to enjoy. Thank you, Dr.
Let me answer you, Philip. I mean, there's no monopoly of knowledge. But it's good to do your conversations in a structured way. Chinese are copycats. I also fear them. But when you share out knowledge, do it in a structured way where you don't expose yourself to to pilferage or knowledge stealing. But I believe that knowledge sharing is important. That is why we always have conferences all over the world daily. And but it's good to have it spill out in a structured way. For my case, let me give you an example of how I went into plastic. I'd never seen an extruder until 2008. I had an idea of how to do plastic. I melted my plastic in a plastic pan to do my first product because I needed an extruder. Here in this country, plastic was an Indian monopoly. They'll not allow you in. You'll not know what happens. But at some point, I got an idea when somebody gave me a broken down used extruder. That's the first time I saw an extruder in 2008. When I saw that extruder, I went and worked on it, did all my research. In fact, the first idea earlier on, I'd taken an order to Kipi. I'd taken, not to Kipi, but to Kirdi. Taken that order to what you call the railway workshop. And they did not have an idea of exactly what I wanted. All I wanted was an extruder. The day I got hold of an extruder, I refurbished it, did it. Initially, it was making me 1 pole an hour. Today, I'm an expert in extruders. My extruder can do a post in 3 minutes. What I'm saying is that, and I can imagine I'd never broken in there. Plastic would still be a very closed monopoly to a certain community, which is dangerous. So that would have retarded our knowledge on waste recycling or plastic recycling. So we can do it, and there's still market for us. But what I'm saying, let it be done in a structured way, because if it is done, if knowledge transfer is acceptable and practiced in a structured way, then the chances of getting a lot more gain out of it are more than getting more failures out of it. Let there be knowledge transfer, but let it be done in a structured way and not completely locking out people. Sometimes Chinese, yes, are very unethical. They can come in using all sorts of gadgets to try and get your idea, but the need to have it patented is necessary. We will not be having patents today if we were that open with our ideas. That's why we talk freely today, because we know that there's a body somewhere that can shield us out of the risk of pilferage. I don't know if I've answered your question, Philip.
Thank you, Dr. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Okay, I think
Dr.
Abraham has Abraham, are you able to unmute, or I think should we then summarize this webinar? Okay, well, I think he's not available. Okay, Jerry, I think Jerry
Oh,
can.
I think my question has been answered.
Oh, it has? Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Abraham.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Thank you. I think Jerry then will close the webinar for us.
Thank you so much, Dr. Caroline. First and foremost, I want to thank the participants who have attended this webinar. I know this is just one of the webinar series that is being done within GDIH program, and which is also within Africa Center of Technology Studies. And as the name suggests, we are very much into technology. And our resolution from recent past is that we want to be technology think tank and also technology do tank. So I encourage members from academia and industry who have joined this webinar today to continue responding to our calls that we will be doing. We'll be sharing because we now have your contacts. We can always share, and you come. We discuss together and get way forward in terms of innovations. I want to also particularly thank Dr. Caroline for having moderated this session very well, and participants who have either asked questions or have just contributed to make the webinar a success, and in terms of contributing knowledge. I want straight away, without wasting time, to thank Dr. Agan Oscar, who is award-winning innovator and with so many experience from the academia and industry. Particularly today, you have allowed participants to know that gathering information is important and observing what problems that are within the society so that you can have ideas which lead to problem solving, getting and taking us through the ideation process. You have even let us know that some of these machines we can just make it because there is room for reverse engineering, leading to great inventions and innovations. But I also particularly like how you have brought out the serendipity, which is sweet surprise that you can start a journey of innovating towards one thing, but along the way you can get another thing or get another something different together, which is very important. I also like the bit that you have encouraged the participants that you are meant to be an epidemiologist, but now you are in engineering after going through other things. So even researchers who are in different fields, please come out, because you might be maybe in medicine, but your innovation in digital space can give you even 10 times what within your field. Because I know the person who invented in M-Pesa in Safaricom is now very rich, and maybe his area was not in digital world. Thank you for highlighting most of the things in patenting, prototyping, and how you incubate your businesses, and finally the technology transfer. I know we shall have time and invite you more to even expound on how to incubate these businesses and even launching them, and even how to use technology push and technology pull just to ensure that innovation goes to the society and assists the society. Thanks very much to everybody who has attended, and we welcome you again to our series of webinars that we will be launching. I know possibly, Dr. we are thinking now that industry is here and academia, we are thinking of entrepreneur in university and something like that, which will be also nice, webinar which they should not miss. Thank you so much. God bless you. Okay.
All
Back
right.
to you,
Thank
Dr.
you. Yeah, thank you for staying with us until the end. I think we'll be sharing the recording once we've let Dr. Agan look at it, and we'll be sharing a link to the database of the people who have been here, because as I said, it was very robust discussion, and there's some things which might want to listen to again. And please go on the website. I think he's given us some things that we can Google and be able to see some of these innovations in action. Thank you so much, and have a good evening.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Carla.
you.
Thank you, everyone
Bye.
else.
All right.
Thank you so much. Bye.